Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really happy to see everyone here. It's my pleasure to offer you my warm welcome to our guests, to our keynote speaker, to our panelists, to our head of department, director of education, and my colleagues, all my colleagues and UCs in Master of Marketing. We are really happy to see you that you joined us today. So, my name is Dr. Pardis Mohajerani. I'm the course director of Master of Marketing. So most of you actually might know me because you received lots of emails probably from me. Sorry about that, but we're really happy to see you here. And if you have any questions about Master of Marketing or marketing in general, I'm happy to help. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the Macquarie University land, the Wallumedegal clan of the Darug Nation, whose culture and customs have nurtured and continue to nurture the land since Dreamtime. We pay respect to the elders past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who join us today. Now, without further ado, I would like to kindly invite our head of department, Professor Cynthia Webster, to join us on stage, welcoming you and introducing our panelists.
Well, thank you, Pardis. It's just wonderful to work with such academics as our course director for the Master of Marketing, Pardis. She's just so hardworking, so enthusiastic, so passionate, bringing this whole event to you, together with the recruitment department in Macquarie University. So we wouldn't be here without them and without AMI. So, and our panelists, we're very excited and welcome future marketers. Really wonderful. It's absolutely my pleasure to welcome you here to our city campus. Beautiful. We also have a lovely campus in North Ryde that I'm sure if you join us for your master's studies, you'll appreciate that as well. So without further, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our panel members and then our keynote speaker for today. So I'll have to get my glasses on because it's a very distinguished panel and very excited to see our people from industry. First of all, I'd like to introduce Simon Cheng from Menulog, the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer. Simon has over 20 years experience leading marketing and commercial teams in high-growth environments. He's had proven success in growing challenger businesses like Menulog and P&O Cruises. He brings them to new heights, and he's also had other roles such as Qantas Holidays and Healthy Life. He's been in major advertising agencies like McCain and Ogilvy. Very impressive track record here. Simon has regularly appeared in various top marketer lists in Australia and in publications, CMO Magazine, B&T, CEO Magazine. So we're very pleased to have Simon here as one of our panelists today. Next, I'd like to introduce Joanna Robinson, Chief Marketing Officer for The Iconic, one of Australia's leading online fashion and lifestyle destinations, I must say, so one of my favorites. With over 26 years of commercial experience, Joanna has a very impressive degree as well. She began her career in fast-moving consumer goods, has worked with Procter & Gamble, Unilever, Johnson & Johnson, Colgate-Palmolive, international experience spanning Australia, Asia, North Africa, the Middle East, Turkey. She's a global phenomenon.
She's 100.
I'll tell you what, she's worked in senior roles in beauty, such as Estee Lauder, L'Occitane, even in the entertainment industry, bubble tea, wine, Chat Time Group. We're going to learn a lot from these panel members, I must say. So And not only has she industry experience, but Joanna also is an educator working with the University of Sydney. We won't hold that against her. We might actually get her to come on over to Macquarie. And finally, this is near and dear to my heart too, Joanna is an advocate for women's empowerment, diversity, and gender equality in the workplace. She's passionate about mentoring the next generation of marketers. So wonderful to have Joanna on our panel. And finally, we have Nicole Alevras. I'll say it. I see I'm Mexican, so I want to say Alvarez, but it's not.
Okay, you did well. Alevras.
Alevras, so Greek.
Yes.
So lovely. So talk about diversity in the panel. It's absolutely wonderful. Nicole is one of our alumni, so we love working with our alumni. So she's back here giving back to the university, mentoring the next generation, working at Samsung Electronics at this time, a channel marketing manager. She is well versed in mobile experience space and the national channel marketing manager for Samsung. She manages the relationship for Vodafone and is the marketing lead for Samsung's mobile experience stores. During her 4-year experience, she's done a lot in 4 years, right? Award-winning campaigns recognized by Spikes Asia, Cannes Lions, Capel's Award, and Shop. Nicole is representing us as one of our alumni, so absolutely wonderful to have such amazing alumni coming back and giving back to our community. Now, finally, our keynote speaker. We work very closely with the Australian Marketing Institute, and Bronwyn, who is the CEO of AMI, is here to provide us with our keynote speech. What can I say? Bronwyn has a very impressive CV, so bear with me. There's a lot to get through here. As I said, she's the CEO of the Australian Marketing Institute, senior marketer, board of directors, senior advisor. She's known for big brand renovation, reinvention. She has over 30 years experience transforming and positioning brands for growth. She has a global focus across fast-moving consumer goods to retail quick service restaurants. At the heart of her success has been her ability to develop insights and turn that into innovative new products, and with commercial success. Driven by strategies and bold communications that connect with consumers and change businesses, she has close to 10 years experience as Global Marketing Director and Chief Marketing Officer for Yum Brands, and I did not know this, and I should because I'm an American. Do people know Yum Brands? No. KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut. We all know those brands, right? So that's the umbrella organization. So very impressive work for years in Dallas with those brands. And she grew those brands globally from Canada to Europe to Asia, and worked with McDonald's here in Australia as well. So her experience is very impressive. Her experience in strategy development and execution extends beyond transformation and growth to customer experience across all touch points, including digital, especially in the retail and quick service restaurant space. Her passions are brand purpose and innovation. She loves breathing life back into brands and categories. Some of these include Kellogg's, Mars, Tip Top, Smith's Snack Foods. I mean, all of our loved and well-known brands. Let's see, what else can I say about Bronwyn? Nothing more. Well, I could keep going, but without further, big round of applause for our keynote speaker.
Well, that was a bit of a mouthful, wasn't it? So I'm trying to see whether I can see everyone over here. And by the way, I'm on the right place for the camera for online. I'm okay? Right there, okay, good. So, Pardis asked me to come and talk today, and of course she sent me a list of questions, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm meant to know all this stuff. So hopefully I can answer all of those questions with a little bit of knowledge of some of that career that I've had. But also as the CEO of the Australian Marketing Institute, which you may say, well, what is the Australian Marketing Institute? Well, we're here to ignite brilliance in marketers. We're all about marketers' careers, and we want you to go further in your marketing career, further, faster, because better marketers make better marketing, make a better world, make more competition, and actually make growth in the marketplace and make economies grow. So that's why you need marketers. And I'm very, very passionate about that. Follow me on LinkedIn and you'll hear me sprouting about it too much is what I say to most of my friends. They say, I saw you on LinkedIn again. I go, yeah, someone's nodding, they've seen me sprouting about why marketers are good people. And why I feel very honoured to come and talk at something as great as a Masters of Marketing. Unfortunately, I don't have one of them, but maybe one day I'll come and do it at Macquarie. But yes, so the first thing I was asked to talk about was the AMI's perspective on the top skills that marketers need in the current digital marketplace. Well, I would be silly not to talk about what we're about to launch at the Australian Marketing Institute, and Simon actually sits on our board, so Simon knows a lot about this. We're about to launch some of this in Menulog as well at the moment. 25 marketing competencies that we've spent the last 18 months putting together that you need as a marketer to be successful across 5 levels of proficiency. So if you want to know more about what you need to do as a marketer to be successful, I'd suggest come and talk to me later and I can tell you about how you or your organisation can join AMI. There's myself for the day. But it is a really great tool and something that I've used in all the jobs I've been in. Sometimes I've been in jobs and I've had none of these levels of proficiency. I've had them not mapped to the jobs that I've got and I'm going, well, how do I actually coach people for that growth in their career? So we're going to have that as a tool, and as an organisation that represents marketers, I think it's about damn time that we had something like that. So come and have a look at that. But the big thing at the moment for me in those top skills, and 5 of them are core skills that you need as a marketer. And one of them's brand, which is my favourite pastime. And Rico said that for you. But I am a brand marketer at heart. I've become a digital marketer over my career. But I am a brand marketer at heart. And digital is actually in that top 5. Digital's not some other thing as it has been kind of, you know, you have to have digital, you have to have brand, you have to have insight. And within digital, I would say the things in digital that you need digital strategy, because it all starts with strategy. It's not just, I'm going to do a social media post. It drives me insane when someone says, your marketing department, can you do a social media post? And I go, what's the digital strategy first, right? What's the brand strategy first before that? So digital strategy, which then leads to a marketing campaign, and then integration of traditional and new together, because traditional media is still there as well. But then you need to probably at different levels of competency have different skills to be able to be a great digital marketer. So you need to be able to use marketing analytics, customer insights to inform that digital strategy. So you need to be damn good at analytics. And I can just say if there's nothing that you take into your marketing career is don't ever forget to not be good at analytics, because it is the foundation of a marketing career. Which that will then inform your digital strategy across social, across search, across other high impact campaigns. When you get to the more senior level in terms of a competency, and I would call that an expert in our framework, you then are actually able to persuade the board and the executive team to provide the resources required to fund an effective digital marketing strategy. And in many instances that may require MarTech, that may require investment, that may require investment in social media, it'll require investment in website, in search, and you need to be then able to argue your business case around why that digital is a means to driving sales in the organisation, customer loyalty, and ultimately brand equity and brand loyalty. So that's quite a difference from just being able to analyse to actually persuade when you get to be an expert. And throughout your career, you will go on that journey and need to pick up all of those skills. But I'd say once you become an expert, don't forget the analytical piece, because you keep coming back to that. People always say to me, oh, I don't like doing the analysis part. And I go, well, I still love doing that, because actually the insight is what drives the commerciality and the actual what you can get at the end, which is going to be brilliant. So as I say, it all starts with strategy. Strategy is also one of those competencies, so don't forget about strategy. And then it's that cohesive mix of all of that and that route to market through that digital insight, which will actually give you a real commercial impact. And it's interesting, I was talking to somebody yesterday about this, and this is really what's happening in marketing now, that marketing is becoming so accountable because of that ROI component that is driven by the analytics and because of those data insights. the marketing benefit is actually really starting to shine through because there is a connection to connecting the dots to driving sales, and that benefit in organisations is actually being realised. Okay, so that was the first kind of easy question. Right, on to the second part that I got. How do we at AMI ensure that we remain at the forefront of marketing innovation given the rapid pace of change in the industry? Now I'm going to give you a view of what we do at AMI, but I'm going to give you a view of Bronwyn Powell, view of what I would be doing if I was a CMO, and what I also think you need to do in your industry. You need to foster a culture of innovation in any organisation, which is creativity and experimentation, and you may need to make it a safe place to experiment. And one of the things that I always used to say of my teams, and I still do, yes, we need to experiment. Yes, we need to try new things. Yes, we need to be able to recognise and reward employees for actually sticking their neck out a bit. And I actually gave an example the other day at South by Southwest when someone interviewed me, and I said I actually got promoted by actually talking about my failure. So I got a global job by actually saying something that was so unsuccessful in KFC that I said no one should ever try to do this ever again because it was so stupid. And I actually got a global job, and the global guy said to me, no one actually talks about their failures. So I would like to talk about something called Festival of Failure. You need to create an innovation, a culture that has that. You need to stay informed, and this is one of the things that I suppose is a message, and a message that I always talk about, is marketers need to stay relevant. They need to keep training on what those innovation ways to market are, and so much that's happening in innovation. So the way that we need to focus on that rapid change in the business is you just need to stay relevant. I would also say that you need to have a customer-centric approach, and at AMI we have gone back to the basics and said if we're a marketing association, we need to make sure that the member or the customer is first, and they are the most important person in this organisation. So in our meetings we actually talk about that. We say what is happening with our customer, what is happening with our member first, and it's actually written into our vision and into our vision statement that they are the most important person. And I suppose I did learn that at a place called Yum, where you're on a front counter in a retail store. The customer is the most important person because they've actually walked into your store and they're actually already there. You don't have to actually go and get them. So that customer-centric approach is really, really important, and that insight about customer is critical. I've talked about experimentation. I would say, always try to do A/B testing, pilot testing. We do a lot of that in AMI. I would change things out. My poor team get me saying, can we go and change the word on that? I don't like that. Let's change it on the social post. Let's do more of a call to action. Let's just do this. In a digital world, you can do it on a daily basis. You can A/B test to the cows come home, which means you also need to be agile. So you need to do rapid adaptation. If something's not working, quickly change it out, move it on. You need to also invest in technology, which we have invested in AMI in technology to ensure that we're managing that innovation. We have some of those tools that we use in terms of our marketing pieces. And then I'd also say, some of the other things is that you need to be on the forefront if you're going to be an innovator about what your competitor is doing. Be absolutely damn spot on that you know what they're up to, because if you ignore them, they'll come and take over you and disrupt you. So I'm pretty obsessive about my competitors. I mean, we have competitors as well, so I'm also obsessive about looking at what they do. So, and I'm sure in the university environment you guys do too. So, you need to know what they're doing, what they're up to, what are they doing around you. So, and look, the other thing is having collaboration and having other ways to work in innovation is really important. We have lots of different partnerships, one of them being Macquarie. In AMI. I love partnerships, I love collaborations, and I love startup pieces. And when I was in Mars, we did a lot in the startup area because we just did it to learn. We actually did incubators and all of those pieces so that we could learn as Martians to actually act more innovative, because we know that entrepreneurs and people in that startup area actually behave in that way. Okay, so, and look, there's lots more that I could talk about in innovation, because I think, as you heard in my bio, it went on forever at the beginning. It's one of my big passion points. So if you ever want to know more about that, please come and see me and we can talk more. But I suppose my headline is, on all of that is, just fail fast and learn. is my headline of what I just say to you. Do not be scared of failure, because it's the only way that you're going to learn in terms of that. Question 3 that I got. The marketing industry is notorious for fast-paced evolution. What emerging trends and technologies should marketers be particularly attuned to in terms of what my insights are? Well, I then wrote down here, insane rate of change. Insane. Like, you know, we've seen the hockey stick piece, everyone's seen the chart. Yeah, like it's off the, you know, it's insane. I can't even keep up with how much marketing is changing. And I would suggest don't try to sometimes, maybe just leave something for and come back and go, well, that's completely changed. I told someone the other day I wasn't going to have TikTok because it will probably change so much that I thought by the time I decide to download the app, it will be so changed that I can then actually go and download it. But look, you know, there's so many things that are happening. I have a real big passion about AI at the moment, and I've got to say it's one of the areas that I particularly want to go very, very deep on, and I would suggest everybody else does, because it's going to provide so much in terms of personalisation, the data analysis piece it will provide too, and help there, and that predictive analytics that you're going to need. Voice search, I have to say I had a massive passion about that a few years ago and often did voice a lot. So no, it's sort of going like this, voice I think, but voice seems to be starting to appear more in marketing activated strategies that I can see. Look, video marketing and content, I don't really need to say much more. That's kind of here to stay, whether it's quality or whether it's not quality. I just mentioned that TT word that seems to be here to stay. And then when I was at Mars, we could put something on TikTok, which I kind of didn't really want to do, but we'd get, you know, 2 million views. I'd say to my CEO, it's on TikTok, I just got 2 million views, I could put on the Channel 7 News and get nowhere near those sort of eyeballs. So, yeah, and that's basically selling, you know, herbs and spices. So, you know, TikTok's not just for people dancing. And I was speaking to somebody else the other day who works in insurance business and told me that it's working massively for them in the B2B area. So there's just so many channels and so many ways to go to market now with video marketing. Augmented reality and virtual reality, I think the big piece there, and I actually wrote an article the other day for The Australian where I talk a little bit about that, is this whole immersive experience piece that I think with Gen Z coming through, that is immersive experience is something they are so used to in their day-to-day life. I mean, they just play games. They are constantly doing that, so the whole thing of being in another world is just second nature to them. So that's just going to be a big piece, I think. A speech couldn't go on without talking about data privacy on the day of Optus. The poor CEO heard of the interview this morning, and she got obviously not about what's happening with their broadband, but what was happening with their data privacy was still being asked of the poor CEO this morning. So data privacy. How do you handle your consumers' data? And how do you make sure that that's going to be safe? And also, I can't go on without mentioning the other word, which is sustainability. Which sustainability is obviously the way of the future and a very, very big piece. And I'd also say ethical marketing. And we actually put a code of ethics in the AMI about how we want marketers to behave. I actually did sit on a university's ethics committee because I feel so strongly about ethics in marketing that we have a right and have a reason to be here to do ethical marketing. So I'd say that it's going to be heightened because those brands and those people who turn up ethically are the ones who are going to be the ones who people are going to want to be part of. Influencer marketing. I do say I'm an influencer, but I've got a degree from a university to be an influencer. I didn't set up my Insta in my lounge room, but that is pretty big. I mean, if you can go and get an Instagrammer now to basically support your brand, you basically can sell anything, I think, with an influencer. E-commerce, online shopping, I think we're at 20%, you guys would know better than me, post-COVID now, is like where people are. My kids laugh at me because they say all I do all day, parcels arrive at our front door, so I've really embraced it. So the iconic will be the next. I do have Menulog come, and then the iconic will have to start coming too. So. Yeah, look, so there's so much more. 5G technology is opening up so much more for us as well in terms of that augmented reality I've talked about and everything else. And I can just keep on going on and on and on. But what I would say to you all is adapt what I personally do as my own mantra, which is be a lifelong learner. Be a lifelong learner, which will lead to a career-long learner, which will lead to a great career. you can't just assume, I've done my undergrad degree, all good, sit back and, it's all going to be great. I personally have had to adapt it over my 30-plus year career to actually adapt to become a digital marketer, because I was a brand marketer and digital was not even a thing when I started in marketing. So you need to be able to continue to do that, and you need to be able to adapt. And that's why we have resilience and being adaptable and all of those pieces. It's actually one of our other competencies. Now, I will start to finish up, but I'm not sure how much more time I've got. A couple minutes? 2 minutes? Good. We're not going to get to... It's good, because I'm not going to get to all of your questions, because they went on forever and ever and ever and ever. What I will say, though, is I'm going to get to this the last one, which was around continuous learning is paramount, and I suppose that just follows on what I've just said. What are we actually doing at AMI around continuous learning? Well, we have mapped these competencies, and from the competencies we are mapping to that all of our webinars, all of our masterclasses, and all of our curated learning that we have. So the first competency is insights. So if you don't have insights in your in your toolkit, as I call it, well, we'll have webinars, we'll have courses, and we'll say this is an insights one, and we're going to try to help that journey for our customers, who are our members, in terms of upskilling into that area. So, we're doing more webinars, really, really relevant ones. We had one on social media, they had 200 people in it. We had a great insights one today. We've had one on AI the week before. We have conferences and seminars, so we partner with others of the best to offer discounts and for people to go to that. We also have certification and other training, and we actually look globally to that, because online learning now is global. But there's a lot out there that's rubbish. So we actually go and actually review all of the courses that we offer to show what the learning outcome is going to be. And I think that's a really important thing. We're about to have a new knowledge hub, because one of the things that people say to us is, I want to know what's happening in marketing and learn from a great marketer, from people like here today. So we're going to be having a feed into our website from MI3, who do, in my view, the best marketing articles in Australia that are very, very deep and give great examples from CMOs who have actually done something, and you can see what their results have been. So we're going to have a resource for that as well in MI. We have networking events where it's always a chance to meet somebody else, and we also have a lot of those. I mean, there's people who are speaking on digital within that. We have mentoring programs and others. So look, I'm going to finish up there. I could just keep on talking about all the changes in marketing forever, and it is a bit of my hot topic at the moment. So good on asking me those questions, because I had some material. That's okay. You probably looked and said I've been sort of talking about it. Look, we at the AMI really believe that that's what you do need to do. You do need to continue to be relevant, and you need to be a lifelong learner. So all of you sitting in the room today, looking to be in a master's course, I'd say go for it, because that's your lifelong learning. You're continuing that learning. I personally am even looking at what course I go and do next. I don't think you ever stop, and I think it's really, if you want to succeed in marketing, you need to keep on keeping on doing it, and that is how you actually will go further in your marketing career, by showing up as the person who actually knows what's going on, and by being relevant. So thank you for that. Appreciate the chance to have a chat.
All right, so thank you so much, Bronwyn, for sharing your valuable insights. We really appreciate that. I'm sure all of us, our potential current students, are all benefiting from it. I'm sure it's very difficult to put everything that 30 years or 30 plus years of experience in 15 minutes, definitely. I really appreciate that. So we can start our panel discussion, but before that, let me just also introduce Rahul, who is moderating our panel. Rahul is a current Master of Marketing student graduating this semester. Well done, Rahul. And he's also, while he was doing his Masters, he has been appointed as the digital strategist at OMG as well. So we are very proud of Rahul as well. So Rahul, would you like to join us on the stage? And thank you.
So, firstly, thank you for this. Thank you, Bronwyn, for sharing such a wonderful insight. I would like to welcome all of our keynote speak this instead.
No, I've talked enough. You want to talk people.
Got a spare chair or
No,
something?
not for me.
So in today's discussion, we have uncovered like how MarTech and effective customer experience across different platforms, and integration of social values across branding is very important to not only just about trends but also about staying ahead of the competition. And our panelists will share their theoretical insights, but more importantly provide a glimpse into how these concepts are implemented within their own organization. Drawing from Bronwyn's shared thought about lifelong learning, right? So how do you foresee the role of a marketer changing in the next decade with the rise of new technologies and platforms? Like Joanna, if you would like to start?
God, how do I see it changing? I think I'm going to come off the back of Bronwyn's amazing talk there, which is that you've got to keep continually learning. I think, God, I've been doing marketing for a very long time, and when I started, Bronwyn, you'll probably be the same, it was a spray and pray, so 90% of the budget went to TV, because people actually watched free-to-air then, so your marketing budget was 90% TV, which was spray and pray, and then little bits and pieces. This is before digital. So I think things have evolved a lot, and what I love about data is that we can now use it to get really close to the customer, because the customer still needs to be at the core of everything that we do. The 4 Ps is still the 4 Ps. So whilst we now have a way more evolved toolkit, and I think it's on us as a marketing community to stay relevant. I love learning, I'm always looking like you for the next course. But I think also we should also take it back to, what are we trying to do here? It hasn't changed. We're putting the customer at the core of everything we do. Who is she? And when we say who is she, that's not just from a demographic, but from a psychometric profiling point of view. To reach someone, you've got to know more about them than what age they are and where they live. So what makes them tick? How are you really going to engage their head and the heart? So once you've identified who they are, how are you going to reach them? With what message? And what do you want to say about your brand, product or service? So I've seen marketing evolve a lot over the last 28 years that I've been working. But at the same time, we can distill it down to simple things, which is the 4 Ps. And having now moved into a purely online, e-com platform, it is interesting because, making that move, a lot of people are like, oh, you haven't done e-commerce before. And I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, what I love about e-com is we've got more data to really understand even more thoroughly the customer, so we can better target her or him. So again, I think that sometimes we overcomplicate what is marketing. I think we have way more tools in the toolkit, and I think that as marketers we need to lean into that and constantly be trying to learn. I love learning new things. AI, like you, Bronwyn, I'm really leaning into it. We're doing some fantastic stuff now on the production side, where we're starting to use AI models, try and cut down the cost of shoot, but also to make sure we're leaning into technology, because we are a fashion and technology brand. We already use it as a chatbot because I look after customer service as well, and we use Tilly, the chatbot. So if anyone's shopped on the Iconic, go have a chat to Tilly. So we're really studying, and I'm using it a lot in the creative team as well. So we're really kind of leaning into it. So yeah, and then the data and analytics, it's lovely to be able to put all of this information in all the different layers, and then look at really fundamentally understanding your customer. The other point that I think is, and not to blab on, I will pass this over, I promise. But the other thing I love is the insights piece. So the other thing I say to my team, I've got this amazing team of analysts, is that's great. And we spent 3 days doing a whole lot of, let's look at what we did this moment at the same time last year. I feel sometimes marketers can do paralysis by analysis. It's like, enough analysing. Let's turn that into some insights and do some stuff with it. So I think that's an important piece of it as well. So that's a very long answer to your question, I apologise. But hopefully somewhere in there I answered something that was relevant.
Of course, yeah. Simon, would you like to add any insights on top of that?
Yeah, sure. Look, I completely agree with everything Joanna's just said. Like at the core of it, what we do is the same thing. And like I was taught the 4 Ps as well. And It's and I think the interesting thing now, and maybe a little bit of a sad thing, is that like marketers, when we first started working, we were in control of the whole 4 Ps.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, there's not as much of that. You're generally in charge of maybe 1 or 2 of the Ps, and you have to influence a lot more of the other Ps. Right, and so that's a real change that's happened in the last 20 odd years that will continue to change. So you'll find we've been taught the principles of the 4 Ps, and you still got to represent them, and you've still got to make sure that the 4 Ps are being kind of executed well, but you may not be directly accountable for them in your organisation. So I think the skill of influencing others who are responsible for the other Ps, placement is usually in the sales team now, and sales isn't always under the marketing banner anymore. Pricing is sometimes in a completely different area, analytics, and so that's something I think to be mindful of, right? The other point I'll just say is unrelated to that is that when we first started out, marketing was very the perception of marketing was very basic, and to be honest, now people still only think that I'm a TV ad guy. Yeah, I mean you get jokes often that you're the crayons and stencils person. My parents still think all I do is make TV ads, and because that's the most high profile work that we do, right? And so that's okay. But like nowadays, you are not just the creative guy, which is kind of how we were first positioned. You're also the analytics person. You also need to be the research person. You also need to be the tech person. And so you're expected to know so many different kinds of skills. And to Joanna and Bronwyn's point, like always be learning. I mean, like it's the only role in the C-suite that has evolved. It's the role in the C-suite that has evolved the most over the last 20 years. So if you think of the other roles in the C-suite, not disrespecting kind of what they do, but the roles have been pretty consistent, and how you execute the roles have been pretty consistent as well, right? So if you're the chief, the CFO, or the general counsel, the disciplines haven't evolved as much as the marketing discipline. The expectation of marketers these days is a lot broader, right? You expect to know a lot more stuff. So, but that's something you lean into. Like I love that about our discipline. I love learning about things. I love having breadth of knowledge. I love working in industries where you have to kind of know lots of different, there's lots of different macroeconomic factors that impact what you do. If you lean into that and really enjoy the marketing, is a really great profession for you.
Just to...
I was going to add some points. I was going to say some amazing insights and completely agree. I think to your point, keeping the customer centric to everything is so key. And I think even, building on that, understanding at what point of the customer decision-making journey are they at as well, because that would dictate what media you invest in, what messaging you invest in as well, how to reach that particular audience. I guess to your point in the past, or everyone's point actually, in the past it used to be TVC, which was the mass cold layer, where 90% of the marketing budget would go through, because that's what would ensure maximum reach. Because even the metrics that regard has also shifted and evolved as digital technologies sort of come into play as well. But onto that, that media piece, selecting the right media to sort of get that customer that's not even thinking about a brand to consider your brand, and then telling the reasons why they should consider your brand and increase that preference. When we think about, think of a category, I'm going to be biased when I say mobile phones. You've got Apple, you've got Samsung, you've got Oppo. So when you're thinking of getting that awareness piece about Samsung, trying to get them to come across to Samsung, why is it better than Apple? Maybe, if you're an Apple or if you're a Samsung enthusiast, why it's better than Apple. But either way, trying to sort of, mould their perception of the brand to effectively convert them. And I think with those digital technologies, with the insights that we do get, we can be hyper-targeted in ensuring that those right communications are hitting that right customer at the right time, which ultimately then, as always, everything comes down to sales, allows us to get a really strong, case and justification for ROI or future investment. So insights are key, digital technology is key. To that point, once you get the customer, there's a whole other journey behind that as well, retention. Why do you want them to stay with you? What's that post-purchase journey as well? So so exciting. There's so many different fields that come into marketing. There's so many different, I guess, avenues as well outside of just the traditional means. The digital means, when we look at social media, I guess, is a platform to advertise through, but also, you know, when we look at users themselves, influencers, and using their platform to help sort of influence that too. But so many realms, and it really excites when we think about marketing and how it continues to evolve, even from an AI perspective, how much more, I guess, targeted and how much more automated we can sort of be in that space too. So I guess that might build upon amazing builds.
Love that.
This was really insightful. And building upon the marketing technologies, and how do you think, like, how does Samsung ensure that its marketing technology strategies are not just innovative, but also relevant to the targeted customer base, as you mentioned?
It's a big question. I think it comes down, I guess, to the same point with customer insights, right? So I guess with the research arm, we look at, I guess, existing Samsung customers, ones that we want to switch or convert, and then other customers that may be considering us but haven't had a good enough reason to move across. So I guess those insights inform, I guess, what creative we target to those particular segments. Also helps us define, I guess, those audience profiles. To your point, it's not just demographics when it comes to age and gender, but it's also the behaviours. What media are they consuming? What type of content are they consuming? How can we target based on, you know, I guess not just demographic, but interest-based targeting as well, just to make sure that we get that particular message across to them to help, I guess, you know, get to that end point of a sale. And it might not be something that's immediate. We've also got short-term and sort of long-term strategies to sort of, I guess, get to that end goal. But I think ultimately when we look at, I guess, one key aspect that is so important, just remember that it's everything comes down to the customer, and everything comes down to that insight to drive not, I guess, subjective strategies, but more objective strategies, which is key.
Of course. Simon, drawing from customer experience, food delivery is all about timeliness and user experience, right? When we use the application, and with multiple touch points like the application, email notifications, and SMS updates and everything, how does Menulog use these channels synergetically to enhance the overall customer experience? What strategies has Menulog implemented to prevent, to provide a seamless cross-channel customer experience?
Yeah, so I think the first thing you learn when it comes to cross-channel marketing is to just like the guys have said, like put the customer at the heart of everything you do. And so we always look at it from that point of view and look at the kinds of channels that different kinds of customer segments will interact with, and then target them based on, you know, like channel plans based on the kinds of channels that they consume. We're similar to Joanna. We're a business that's really rich in data. We have a lot of data in our business. It's funny because we're actually we're quite a broad national business with a really, really broad mass market footprint, but at the same time a super, super hyper local business, because even though we have 37,000 restaurants on the platform, at any given time only 300 are relevant to you. And so we use a lot of data to be able to curate that 37,000 restaurants down to the 300 restaurant set that are within your kind of geography, and based on the cuisines that you like as well. So we use a lot of that kind of order history data, the cuisines that you like. We look at where you are. We look at how far away you are from different kinds of restaurants, and all of that goes into the whole engine to serve you the kind of restaurants that you have, serve you the pricing that you have, and then also the algorithms in the background to assign how far away different couriers are, like delivery drivers are, to be able to serve you up like an estimated time of arrival. And so that whole engine we use, and then we use that engine and communicate all of that data through all the different channels that we have at our disposal. I think the key there also is to, again, putting the customer at the heart of what you do, and not, I guess, having the right balance to hit them. I think Nicole said it right, hit them at the right, with the right message at the right time, and not take this kind of approach where you kind of hit them with the same message in every single channel. all the time, with spamming people. Yeah, I mean, I could talk forever on this, but yeah, that's kind of how we do it.
Joanna, would you like to share some insight about the strategies that Iconic has implemented to provide seamless cross-cultural customer experience?
Cross-cultural, that's a really interesting one. I think,
Cross-channel.
right, I was going to say, I didn't prep for that one. That's okay. I'll roll with it. Cross-channel is probably easier. Okay, so look, I think similar to what Simon's just been talking about, it really is about customer at the core. I think the word that we're all kind of using today is personalisation. So personalisation is it relevant for you? And it's interesting because my new boss, my new CEO, joined us 3 months ago from La Moda, which is our Russian business, because we're part of a parent company called Global Fashion Group. And we do push notification at the point of purchase. We may see that you're hanging around in the wish list, or you put it in your carts. You might get something saying, here's 10% off if you convert now. We also will let you know when items are on sale in your wish list, which I love. He wrote me a text saying, oh my God, I find this so intrusive. And I said, really, is that interesting? Because I love it. And I mean, I'm a tier one, but I still get excited. I'm like, oh yes, I've got to convert now. And I it's less than discount I get as a staff member, but it's that call to action that's obviously really relevant for me, and is personalised. And of course, I guess the strategy is to make sure that we are not pissing off the people where that is intrusive, and yet we are using it on the right audiences because we really understand behaviourally how they roll. So, and that's down from not just how you communicate with them, but also, we can see what they've shopped, what they're wish listing, how often they're shopping. Like we segment our customers into 5 tiers. The idea being that the ones we bring in, because we spend a lot of money trying to bring in new customers, we must have one of the biggest pay performance budgets, I think, of a lot of e-com companies. Then the idea is you bring them in, they're once a year, so they maybe come in when we're doing a Black Friday deal or something, and then you take them on a user journey to try to get them up to tier 1. Tier 1 shop on average with us 33 times a year and spend on average about $5,000. Whereas someone who shops once a year is coming in and probably spending, if we're lucky, $100. So really understanding the value of the customers and then overlaying the behavioural insights and the analytics that means that we can say, are we spending our money to bring in the right quality of customers? And to your point earlier, once we've got them, how do we take them on the journey to make sure that they become tier 1s? Now, the other thing when they become a tier 1 is they also become a loyalist. And we know from the funnel, you get someone down to loyalty, you have a brand ambassador, and they're doing half of your marketing for you. They're walking around saying, I love the Iconic, for free. They're not an influencer you need to pay. And they genuinely love your brand. And one of the things that brought me to the Iconic, because I'm a brand builder as well, I love that point of getting people to fall in love with the brand. And when I say I work for the Iconic, there's so many people that say, oh, I love the Iconic, which is interesting because we haven't done any above-the-line advertising for a very long time. So we have legacy lovers of the Iconic. Thank God we have them. I'm putting the defib on the brand, so watch next year, we're back. But yeah, I mean, it's again a long answer, but I think it is that really kind of overlaying all of that data and then understanding the value of which customers and how to take them on the journey to get them into loyalists and tier 1s.
Joanna, again, going back to the branding side of the any kind of brands, and like we all know how social value is important currently nowadays, and how consumers are connected towards the social value. How do you embed social value in the Iconic's branding without diluting the core brand message?
Well, it's an interesting one because I think it should be part of your brand, to be honest. I mean, I had the privilege of working for Unilever during the era of Paul Pullman, and he got sustainability written in the vision. I mean, he is just an amazing leader, and he said that the big companies have a responsibility to lead because the other companies will follow. I was lucky enough to work for him 15 years ago as a minion. It wasn't like I had a direct, I was one of his many, but he really impacted me because I am very about purpose. So the companies that I work for are ones that are aligned with my own personal values and purpose. And sustainability is super important. So is diversity and inclusion. So is, equalising the gender gap. So I want to work for brands and companies that represent that and are putting some good in the world. What drew me to the Iconic is we do some really great circular economy stuff. We really embrace diversity and inclusion, both internally and externally. And we're a brand that I'm really proud to work for. The opportunity was I went, oh my God, we're doing all these amazing things. We're not telling people about it. And I think it's telling people about it, but also being very authentic about it. So there's not the chest beating, aren't we amazing? Because we are always on the journey. We talk about being better. We just need to be better humans, be a better brand, put some good back in the world. So it's not chest beating. I think authenticity is super important, both internally, but also externally. I think consumers know if you're being disingenuous, especially Gen Z. They are going to change the world. I have 2 kids at home, one of whom's just graduated high school, and she is that era where they want to change the world, and they will bounce from brands that are not doing the right thing. And that's really powerful because that's truly putting the customer at the heart of what we do.
It is true. It is really about a lot of brands very into greenwashing. From there, we can see how customers are bouncing back from those brands. And Simon, as you have got the mic, in the domain of like food delivery system, where speed and convenience are often primarily the selling points, right? How does Menulog integrate and emphasize social value within its branding strategy?
Yeah, sure. So, speed and convenience is kind of, because we're in quite a functional category, right? Where people there's certain hygiene factors you need to deliver to even be able to be considered in the category, right? So speed and convenience obviously are 2 big things. The price is another one as well. So I can give you some examples. There's a couple of things that we do. One is probably more unexpected, and one is something you'd probably expect. So when people think of sustainability, they do think of, particularly our industry, that you think of like food waste, and you think of like recyclable packaging and that kind of thing. And so we get quite involved in those initiatives, which is kind of what you'd expect. We work really closely with Harvest in terms of helping support the reduction of food waste, because we have many restaurants on our platform, and so we help connect Harvest to and their services to our restaurants on our platform to be able to help minimise food waste. We also invest in locally in Australia as well as in some of our other markets. We're part of a global business as well. We're in just over 20 markets around the world. And in some of our other markets around the world, in Germany, in the Netherlands, in the UK, and in Australia, we invest in compostable pizza box packaging that we develop ourselves and then sell them on our online store to partners. I look after as well as looking after customer strategy. I also look after our business-to-business strategy, where we have all the restaurants and stuff that we sell to as well, who are also customers of ours. So that's kind of some of the stuff we do. One of the other things that may be a little bit unexpected, but I would put in the social bucket, is we're the only online food aggregator in Australia that employs drivers. And so what you probably know about the gig economy is that the gig economy is great because it's basically a huge freelance economy where people can kind of have flexible work and log on and log off and do the work and get paid as they do by task. In our industry, the reason why this is becoming a big topic now is that in our industry, what's happening is that the nature of gig economy is now changing from being single task-based work that people do kind of 3 or 4 hours a week for a little bit of side hustle cash, to being a full-time job for some people, right? And so what comes with that is then the need for more job security, the need for people wanting to kind of feel like getting things like superannuation and all the benefits that come with having a full-time job, and that currently isn't available in the gig economy industry at the moment, right? And so we're the only guys in the industry that actually have decided to offer a full-time employment as a type of as a type of employment for our for workers to engage with our business. And so similar to how you would how we offer our office roles, where you can work full-time, you can work part-time, or you can work contract. It's a similar kind of arrangement where you can work contract, which is a gig economy kind of situation. You can work part-time or you can work full-time, right? Where you get superannuation, you get workers' compensation, you get full benefit, you get annual leave. And so we offer, so that's kind of a social benefit. Yeah. So.
Nicole, if you want to add something in regards to Samsung, like Samsung has been involved in global initiative, social initiative, and how do those align with Samsung's brand identity here in Australia? And how do you communicate this alignment to your customer base?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think to your point, there's probably two layers that come into it. You've got the hygiene layer, which is sort of the expectation almost from customers in what brands should be doing in particular industries, and then you've got the other message, which is what are they doing over and above that's different. I think in Samsung's point, if we look at, it's very functional as well, we look at product manufacturing as well, but I guess from a product perspective, looking at ways to, I guess, from a recycling point of view, for instance, discarded fishing nets in the ocean that they repurpose into accessories for their mobile devices. With the S22, S23 Ultra, we've got the S Pen. 20% of the S Pens in a casing is also is composed of that material as well. So, and then also with the recycling packaging, that it sort of comes in. So, I guess recycled cardboard, packages and the bags and the reduction in plastic. So I guess from a functional product perspective, they're the hygiene layers that Samsung is already doing. From, I guess, a global point of view, they've got a very strong association with the UN sustainability goals. So there's a particular, I guess, platform where that's got more information on that. We've also on the mobile devices, it's embedded within the phone itself. But I think, building on the points here, being authentic, it's challenging for brands to sort of communicate the things that they're doing good, but in a way that doesn't show that they're boasting about it. So it's available for customers to learn more, but I think the challenge is, I guess, and I'll be quite open and honest with Samsung, there is a lot that we're doing, but we're probably not the best at trying to communicate it in a humble way, or in a way that allows us to be humble. So that's, I guess, part of the plan come 2024, 2025. You'll see more of those communications come. We're a bit slower in that space. But I guess from a hygiene level, there are initiatives and things that we are doing to sort of, I guess, give confidence to customers that we are being as sustainable as we can from a product, and also, I guess, even from a partnerships perspective as well, aligning with brands that have similar values to, again, give that confidence to the customer.
That is really insightful. So we discovered about how 4 Ps really matters when it comes to any marketing industry, starting from Iconic to Menulog to Samsung Electronics, being a former Apple employee as well. So
Doing that before. I switch you.
And from there, being a marketing student at the Macquarie University, we have also learned about how social values are being involved, and when we are given assignments of creating our own brands across branding, social media, digital marketing, we can innovate different kind of ideas with social values. How will you promote that brand? What platforms are you going to use it? But I will leave that more to Dr. Pardis right now and invite you to the stage over here, please.
Well, thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much, panelists. So I will open the session. Thank you, Rahul. So I will open the session in the Q&A in a second. But please have a seat just for a second. As the course director of Master of Marketing, I would like to also have the chance to very quickly talk about our Master of Marketing. I'm very mindful of our time, but I guess my point here is that, well, you know all the rankings on everything, so I'm not going to repeat those rankings. Yes, we are number 1 in Australia, we are number 28 in the world, and everything, and we are very proud of it. We are accredited by AMI, WACSB as well. But more importantly, our role is to equip our students with those skills that when they go to the industry and work for such amazing companies, they would be able to apply those knowledge. So that's our role as academics and as a course director to ensure that this course is designed in a way that this can be achieved. And I can assure you that this is what is happening in our course. So our main focus is on employability basically, and equipping our students with those employability skills. So I do have one good news as well. From 2024, we also offer 1.5 year and 2 year Master of Marketing. So we used to only have a 1 year Master of Marketing, but from 2024, we will have also 1.5 year and 2 years. So you will have that flexibility to choose whether you would like to, pursue any of these courses, basically based on your, situation in life as well, obviously. And lastly, if you would like to know more about our Master of Marketing, I have also provided that one-page flyer for you that you can review. But again, I have also put this website for you there, so if you would like, you can also refer to MQ Course Finder with all the details, or you can reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'm happy to help you, with your journey in Master of Marketing. All right, so now time for question and answer. Is there any question from our audience right now that you would like to ask our panelists, or maybe myself? Yeah, so can I have the mic, please? Thank you. Sure.
Hi, thank you so much for answering those questions in so much detail. So I'm part of industry, and there's been a lot of talk about data here on the panel at events, as Bronwyn says, South by Southwest quite recently, and obviously in media. Now, as providers move, towards a cookie-less environment digitally, and obviously Apple changing its privacy laws and how much data you can collect, what are marketers expecting when it comes to getting the right type of data and the right amount of data?
Yeah, it's a very good question. It's actually really hard. Like, it makes it really, really, really challenging. We're affected. So you referred to kind of two milestones. One is the deprecating of cookies. So for those, I imagine most of you are probably aware of kind of what's going on there. Google announced it, I think, about 2 years ago. They put it off a little bit. I actually only met with them last week, and they said it's actually imminent now. So I think they're looking to deprecate by March next year, which makes it really hard to, especially do retargeting activities. Speaking personally from our point of view, we don't do a lot of retargeting because we just don't tend to do a lot of retargeting in our it just doesn't play a massive part in our channel mix, so that doesn't affect us as much. But the other milestone that you mentioned was the privacy implementations that Apple did. So when Apple released iOS 14.5, I think about 2 years ago, that had a really big implication on our business because we're an app first business. And so you end up, like for us, how we manage it is you end up relying a lot on your modelling and analytics departments to be able to. The only way to kind of do it is to proxy the data through really good analytics, right? And so we do a lot of modelling to make sure that we are proxying what we believe the actual sales and orders really are from the particular channels where you actually can't see anymore. I think the other thing is that's kind of my answer in terms of how we handle it. But from a bigger picture point of view, I think from a marketing industry point of view, what we need to be doing is getting much better at the proposition of the value exchange that marketing industry wants to have with consumers. And so, because consumers are now want to be a lot more private, but I believe people actually are happy to hand over data if there's a really strong value exchange. And so the onus is on us now to provide them really, really useful uses for data, right? And so I personally, I don't say this because I'm in the marketing industry, but personally, I'm very happy to hand over data if you can personalise really, really well for me. Like I don't mind advertising, right? Certain channels, I like them better than others, and I say this as a marketer, like I hate watching TV ads, but I love ads on Instagram and on TikTok, right? And I think it's because they're more personalised, right? So I hate non-personalised ads on social, but I love them when they're really, really targeted. And so for me, the value exchange there is I'm very happy to hand over my data. I will hand over all my data, right? If you personalise well. But I see the benefit in it. Yeah. So that's kind of my answer. Yeah.
Perfect. Can I also ask a question from our online panel as well? So, like our audiences. Well, Stephen is asking, very keen to hear your intelligence on how brand marketing team deal with marketing disasters like what Optus had today.
Who's had a recent disaster?
I can briefly talk about it. Definitely before my time, but I hear the stories in the hallways about our lovely Note 7. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with what happened with the Note 7. Exploding phones. Yeah. So I guess in that space, I wasn't obviously at Samsung, but I can talk about the responses that they did to give confidence, I guess, back to the consumer. In a time that was probably the most challenging in the mobile space with Samsung. I think the most disappointing part of it all was it was on a trajectory of amazing growth, and then this happened. But ultimately, when I guess the first news came about the phone itself, and what happened was there was an issue with certain batteries in certain devices, which meant some of them were faulty. We couldn't identify specifically what ones were faulty. So there was a lot of delineation, a lot of discussion, I guess, behind the scenes, both from a global and local perspective. Lots of late night meetings to try and figure out which is the best approach moving forward. Ultimately, what happened was we made a call in Australia, the first country in the world to do a mass recall. So anyone that purchased a Note 7 device, automatically free refund. We'll come back for a refund, and then we'll automatically do an exchange with a product that we knew was fit for purpose to ensure that safety. So I guess in those instances, as a business, as we sort of mentioned, sales is everything. In a time like that, where we have to put the customer first and the safety first, would mean that we would have to take action to bring back the devices for their safety, if it may not be the best, I guess, decision from a business point of view. But I guess what that meant was, since we were the first country, customers came back, they felt that, it was a company that truly cared, which is true. And obviously looking after them from a compensation point of view and obviously from a safety point of view. But yes, we hear the murmurs. I guess from then, obviously all the products that we do bring to market, there's even more stronger testing to make sure that they are safe for use for many years to come. And thankfully we haven't had any issues since. But that's probably the biggest and most frightening, I guess, situation that a marketer can have, because PR was on overdrive trying to, I guess, give context or enough context, and obviously restore that, I guess, shaky customer sort of, I guess, sentiment at the time.
Can I just add to that a little bit? Thank you. And I know the ex-CMO of Optus really well, so I've already had this chat with Mel. But look, I think when a brand makes a mistake, the best thing you can do is be accountable and apologise. I think the moment, it's that whole authenticity thing. So, I think Optus probably needed to get in front of it sooner than they did, because the fact that they took a while. I think when they did come out, it was great, but it was about a day too late. So people had already formed opinions. So I think get in front of it, even if you don't know all the details. Whilst you're strategizing, you just say we've made a mistake, and we're going to work it out. You have to be really transparent. The famous one that I love teaching at uni is about the original Coke challenge, when they did the Pepsi challenge and Coke relaunched the original, and we all know that you do prototypes and you launch a sub-brand and you don't just replace one of the most loved brands on the planet. they did the Pepsi challenge and people were choosing Pepsi. It was a disaster. And they did a massive launch. It was just, I think it was in the 50s. It was an absolute disaster. What Coke did though was very clever because they literally got their global head CEO and they went on TV and they apologised. And they said, and they made it about the customer. They said, we weren't listening to you. We didn't go to you and test with you. We replaced your original. We're sorry. And if people love your brand and they're emotionally attached to your brand, they will forgive you. They will forgive you as long as you're honest, authentic and transparent. Because brands are people and we make mistakes.
I've got one little example I just thought of, so which is a funner example, I guess, not as serious as that. So my point is actually like it's a bit more trivial and not as serious, I guess, right? But like it is actually a marketing disaster created by marketing, by me, by the marketing team. So last year, over the last few years, we launch a new kind of major celebrity campaign every year, right? Like where they sing a jingle. And we launched Snoop Dogg in 2020, kind of at the start of COVID, and then we launched a local version in 2021 where we had kind of 4 local Australian artists that redid the song. And then in 2021, we launched with Katy Perry. And we've actually just launched with Christina Aguilera and Lato this week. But the Katy Perry launch, we used to be really big sponsors of the State of Origin, rugby league in the middle of the year. And we usually use that to kind of launch the big campaign. And that we had a lot of success with that with previous campaigns. But when we launched the Katy Perry one, we decided to launch that at Origin as well. And maybe not the right kind of audience for the celebrity. But we did it thinking it would be good anyway, and we launched it in game 1. So for those of you who don't know, Origin's a 3-game series, and we launched it in game 1. The media time, like it's like the Aussie version of the Super Bowl, so bloody expensive for a 30-second or a 60-second ad in this case, and it was an absolute disaster. We launched it. It played, I think, in the first ad break. And the social comments was scathing, absolutely scathing, and my team were on there, like everyone's super excited obviously when you launch a new campaign, like waiting to see the comments. Everyone loves Snoop Dogg, everyone loved the Aussie version, and we thought it was going to be really good, and the feedback was just absolutely terrible. Like go and have a look at it, it's still on there. It's all up on Twitter, on YouTube, and we got absolutely hammered by the rugby league crowd, as you probably would expect. And so anyway, so the game was on the Wednesday, and on the Friday, I called my head of brand and I said, hey, I'm thinking for the next game, maybe we should think of doing something else. And I thought let's have a think about what we can do, and because maybe we should, like to your point, let's be authentic about it, and let's have a bit of fun with it. Let's kind of admit that we kind of did something wrong. And so what we did, we actually took the Daily Mail actually came up with an article the next day on a Thursday, and again it was like the headline was completely like it's not something I put on my CV, but we actually took their article in the headline and we put it in we made an ad that weekend, and we rung Wendell Saylor, who's an ex-rugby league player. He's a Queensland player, really known for it, like he's a funny guy and whatever. So we rung him and asked him if he would come and shoot a quick few ads for us, and we shot an ad with him sleeping, like doing mundane things for 30 seconds basically, sleeping, brushing his teeth, doing all sorts of mundane things. And we took the Daily Mail article headline, we placed it at the very start of the ad as well. So we shot this little ad, really, really quick turnaround, that just said, this is what you said about our last ad, blah, 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 we're sorry. So instead of kind of boring you with that, we're going to bore you with 30 seconds of Wendell Saylor sleeping. And that just completely turned it around. I think the sentiment was really, really great. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was being culture, and so that's a little example of of an actual marketing disaster.
Yeah. Perfect. Is there any questions from our audience? Yeah. Can I get one down to you as well? And then yes, thank you. Thank you, Alex.
Hi, my name is Thomas. Thank you for the sharing. Actually, I get many insight from the sharing, especially when it comes to customer-centric and data-driven. So I have a question about how to get into the career path, being like marketing analysis, and how to move on from entry level to the top level. Thank you.
So my advice here is literally, like when I was applying for my first job, I worked in ad agencies. My very first job, I worked for McCann Erickson back then, right? And that was like a really kind of big famous ad agency that actually did Coca-Cola at the time. And I must have sent out 200 CVs, and back then it was sent by snail mail. And you just sit there and wait and hope for like someone to write a letter back, right? So I guess like my point is like, just get out there and door knock, get out there and meet people, network. I encourage people to network a lot. I had a really good mentor of mine said to me, like, one of the best things you can do, like he's got this thing where he says like, go and have 100 coffees with someone. Like not one person, 100 coffees. But you'll stalk them. And go out and every time you meet with someone, set yourself a goal to try and get 3 names from that person. And you might only get 2, you might get 1, but like then you kind of broaden your network and broaden your circle, right? The other thing I just encourage is like send people, like approach people on LinkedIn. You know, like you'd be really surprised at how open people are, particularly in the marketing profession. I personally find if I reach out to people, they you know, are very happy to kind of give you their time. I'm always very happy to give people time if they reach out to me. So I would encourage that. Like you might get the odd person who's right back or whatever, but like generally speaking, most of the marketing industry are actually pretty open and love to help each other. So I think you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think LinkedIn is a great tool. It certainly wasn't around when I was job hunting, and I mean we get a lot of approaches, but I tell you what, if you're clever and you're really authentic, again there's that word, but you know, I've had people write and they have genuinely done some homework on my company and my brand and on me, and they write a really articulate, you know, message saying, hey, I'd love to, you know, I love following you, I'm seeing what you've done, I love your brand, I love that it stands for XYZ. You know, I'm just starting out, I would love to, you know, grab half an hour with you to have a coffee. Or they want to be an intern. So I love people with spunk and attitude, and because you have to be more competitive, you know. So I love young people that are out there trying to grab life, and I really encourage that, and same as someone, I would make time for that. And then I think the other thing is just say yes. Like, particularly when you're younger, I have trouble saying no these days, but just say yes to opportunities. Yes, I can do that. Oh, AI, I'll run a project on that. Like, just be keen and say yes to the opportunities that come your way, because that's how you'll get noticed, and that's how you'll get your first job.
I guess it's probably the most immediate, I guess, pathway when we think about, I guess, my journey, right? So I guess the last 4 years I've been at Samsung. I was also in your position in 2020. Had high hopes that it would be an amazing face-to-face experience, but then, you know, the dreaded C thing happened. So then we went straight into online. But I remember having, I applied for a grad program at Samsung. That's how I got through. And I guess when I look at the sort of the years before while studying, I highly recommend if you can get hands-on experience while you're studying. Yes, it is challenging to balance a full workload. If you can reduce it to part-time, if you've got the flexibility to do that and sort of pick up experience along the side, I think you'll just find that being in the workplace, understanding the theories by these amazing professors in the room, you'll be able to make those links to theoretical understandings, to actual best-in-class executions and strategies that you're picking up, I guess, in sort of that role. But I will say, being in the Master of Marketing program, I would highly recommend continuing. It does set you apart. I mean, if I guess in the last sort of 30, 40 years, a bachelor would sort of get you through the door, but they're really popular now. A lot of people have those degrees. Initially, what sort of made me go into the Master of Marketing program, and sort of hearing about your journey working overseas, that was my goal, to do that. So whether you're looking from a local perspective in Australia to sort of, I guess, get that step forward and differentiate yourself, 100%, I would 100% encourage you guys to continue down the path of the Master of Marketing program. The value exchange you get from that in the long term far outweighs and sets you apart from those with an undergrad. With the experience on top, you will be so employable. And then, sorry?
Talking about the brand ambassadors.
Yeah, that's it. I am the one down at the bottom of the funnel. But I will say, and then also having that in your back pocket as well, if your career does advance and you want to explore global opportunities, again, having that under your belt. I know in the States, highly regarded, same with the UK, so can't, I guess, encourage it enough.
I can add some other things. I've recently
do you
been
want
employing a marketer, and I have to say, I've recently been employing a marketer, and I was telling a story to Rico before about the person actually has got a Macquarie degree, by the way, I'm employing. But I look at the degree people have got, because there's a lot of marketing degrees, and there's a lot of universities now who have marketing and undergrad. So you sort of look at it and have they got a master's and what have they got, and I always look at that first. And then I go and look at what they've got, what they've done. And then I'll give another example is I have an intern working for me at the moment. She's at another university in undergrad marketing, a very good one as well. But she came and approached me. She knew me through another way. I used to work for her dad. She came and approached me. She wanted a coffee. I needed a person. I rang her. She's working for me. Guess what? She's about to get an intern somewhere else now. That's fabulous because she's been working for us. And that person happens to know me. And she went and saw him, and he's a CEO of another company. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know how you've been working for you. You've got some experience. Great, I'm going to employ you. So it's exactly what these guys are saying. It's like it's where you've studied. It's what you've got on your CV. It's who your network are. Don't be scared to ask. And put it all out there is what I'd say, because people like me look at it and actually really look at what you've done on your CV.
Thank you so much. I guess, do you want to add something?
I think I was just going to say, similar to you, I guess, from, I guess, words that have never sort of left, I guess, words of wisdom that have never, I guess, left me, if I put it that way. Always don't be scared to ask, because I guess the worst and the only negative outcome would be no. So always ask. The doors are open. You may not see what those doors are, but there's a lot of opportunity out there.
I think, Cynthia, you also had another question. So one last question, and then you can ask your questions in our networking session if that's fun. Can we have? It doesn't matter, like. Yeah.
Hi, I will be very brief. Thank you very much. And we talked a lot about analysis today. So when you do marketing projects, it's a lot about communication. So we would divide communication in two parts. It's visual communication and words, right? And I'm in for 8 years in design, and we create designs for landings and websites. And we never still can measure, we do great designs, but we never can still measure that our clients get good sales because the design is great, or just because they are great marketers and they got lots of traffic. So do you use any tools nowadays, maybe with AI, to measure if design was great and if it's not good enough, and if you improve it, you'll get more conversions or more clicks on banners? Do you do any design analysis?
The short answer is absolutely. It's interesting being in fashion because you talk about a marketing mix, everything from the model to, obviously there's assortment, but the model can actually, the styling of the shoot, the model, that can all affect the conversion rate. So we are a branded platform, so we also have our own brand, but obviously we have 1,500 brands that we deal with, and they're looking to drive sales. So we do have all the analytics, and right down to we can tell, how long people are staying on what tile, what converts where, and we do A/B testing where we can see the type of model and the styling and the particular outfit that she is wearing versus someone else. So we are able then, and that's probably one of our strengths, is we are very data rich and we're able to provide analytics and reporting back to our partners. And not all of our partners are set up to do that. So they find that very powerful. So yeah, the short answer is yes. I think the bigger answer is, and we're doing this branding piece at the moment, and one of the things that we struggle with as CMOs is the internal marketing question is how do you, top of funnel stuff doesn't deliver sales today. And we are, I'm taking the Iconic on a very scary path because we were addicted to the pay performance drug because you can measure it. It's what's given us a seat in the boardroom. It's also created a rod for our back because everyone's forgotten about brand. Branding is talking about sales next year. So if you let the brand go, and honestly, I think the Iconic has done that over the last 5 years because we've been so focused on what can we measure and we're addicted to the pay performance drug. The moment we take our foot off the pedal there, we lose sales because we've not focused on top of funnel. So we're doing a shift in strategy, which is risky because the business is saying, well, are we going to see this massive investment in quarter one? Are we going to see the sales? And I'm like, probably not until the following year. So it's scary, but actually if we don't start to rebuild the brand, we will have a steeper hill to climb. So I think that the design and the tone of voice and the brand is super important. It's just not measurable tomorrow. It's about a longer term measure.
Also, I think we talk. I think I'm actually a numbers guy. I love market science stuff, right? But I love branding. My traditional training's in agencies with branding. But I think the marketing profession now has. I think the guys have said that it has probably shifted a little bit too much towards the numbers stuff. And I think and it's because it is measurable. It is easier to kind of quantify and stuff. But I think we've also got to remind the boardroom and remind our peers we work with that marketing is both art and science, right? It's not just science. It's on the onus is on us to represent the industry and the profession in that way, and that they're hiring us. If it was just about science, you wouldn't need marketers. You just hire analysts and accountants to do our jobs, right? And they don't do that. They hire us, right? They hire us because and whether they like it or not, the art side of it is backward judgment. Right, and so they're buying your brain to make good judgment calls, right? And you can't train good taste, right? To your point on design, you can't train good taste, right? That's the reason they're high marketers, right? That's the reason why Joanna's at the Iconic, with her background and being able to kind of make a call on what you can't quantify why the lighting on that particular model is going to look better than shooting over here, And that stuff that's the art part of what we do. And I think it's on us to make sure that we've got that balance in people understanding the difference, the balance between art and science.
All right, so thank you so much for your great answer, comprehensive answers. I'm sure all the students and industry professionals here are benefiting from it. We do also have this honor of having our Associate Dean of Curriculum and Learning here, who is always supporting our course. So I would like to ask Lindsay to please join us on the stage for just a small gift that we would like to give you, just as a thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.